I was born and grew up in Quebec. I long believed I was living in a place where skin color was not important, and people's beliefs were just a detail. I thought that differences fascinated people rather than scared them, until I started wearing a head covering. I realized at once that my head covering bothered people, that I bothered people. Suddenly, I was no longer a Quebecer, but a Muslim, an Arab. I had become a different person. At 15, I saw my hopes and dreams hit a wall. The result was an overwhelming pessimism. I told myself, what's the use of saying that Quebec is not my host country? It's my native land, where I spoke my first words and took my first steps. What's the use of all that effort to get an education if other people judge me when they see the cloth around my head, before they even have time to hear my Quebec accent? Even though I am comfortable in French, much more than I am in the Arabic I learned from my parents, there was no point in using it to communicate. My head covering did that for me. I would have liked to hear messages of hope from our politicians and the leaders in our society, encouraging me and saying that I could succeed, and nothing and no one could stop me. Of course, I could have decided to make my views known loud and clear, and fought against the injustice I saw around me. But I did not have the strength, and in any case, I did not believe in it. I therefore took refuge in my own thoughts, the only place where I felt at home and where I was in control. I drew strength from the idea that the society in which I had grown up was the cause of all my problems. That society was now stifling me, preventing me from getting ahead, and that I had no longer belonged. I felt a desperate need to choose from different identities, as if it were impossible to be more than one thing at a time. I had become weak and vulnerable, an easy prey to extremist propaganda. I was convinced that I no longer belonged in Quebec, and I dreamt day and night of an ideal world in which I would find people like myself, and the way of life would be exactly suited to my own values and those of my religion. I was sure that such a world really existed, and I thought that the realization of my dream was very close. That's when I decided to leave Quebec to begin a new life, despite the dangers to my own safety and the harm I did to those around me. At the time, I felt sure that my cause was just, and some people had told me that God was on my side. After this nightmare, the road back was very difficult. I no longer knew what was true, as if the world as I had known it was a lie and an illusion. I felt as if I had been mentally raped, as if I had suffered intellectual and psychological abuse. It was a horrible feeling. That was when I agreed to stop being a prisoner of my ideas. I needed to take refuge with them as if I were a child again. I was afraid to be alone and afraid of myself. My family protected me. I gradually began to set my burdens aside and see myself more clearly. I gained an understanding of the expectations of my religion and realized that no one could force me to choose between identities. I am now capable of being exactly what I want to be. I am the mistress of my own identity. Whatever people think of me, the important thing is for me to be the happy person I decided to be.